Path of Exile devs on why you should never blame your audience. This is a new interview just dropped by Destin on Path of Exile by GGG. I'm assuming this one is Mark or Jonathan.
So recently I got to sit down with the Path of Exile team and ask them some questions all about the latest update to Path of Exile 1. Now, I actually got to interview Mark, aka Neon, but Mark, it was a little bit different than most of my interviews. I had to write questions in chat, so I thought it would be fun if I acted out how I was asking the questions and then sort of cut the video together so that he's responding to what I had written. But spoken from me, I don't know. Let's just see how it goes and go from there.
Like normal, there'll be a Q&A. To do that, all you just got to do is write your questions in the
this is a gamer room
on Discord.
Question. Is this where we put the questions?
Wait a couple minutes, and then thanks, Destin, for making me laugh a little bit.
Got him.
All right. October 31st, noon Pacific.
All right. Hope everyone enjoyed that. And that everyone can hear me. You never know. But yeah, feel free to fire away with the questions in the chat, and I'll just start answering them. I know we don't have as many people as normal in this session, but I don't know.
It's kind of a different style interview.
So questions individually, or if you have all the answers already, that's fine.
We will rapid fire.
It doesn't really bother me either way.
Now, it was about this time I just dumped all the questions I've been writing on my phone while watching the presentation into chat. So,
oh, okay. Well, never mind. Destin, of course, ask. Yes.
Destin, of course.
So that'll give me some time to fill in. So let me catch up on all of that. All right. Well, I'll start back from just because I wasn't too sure if that was your first question, but at the very start of it, Destin does ask, did the game get a graphics update?
People are asking this multiple times.
The first thing you'll immediately notice, yes, is that generally lately PoE 1 has a lot better in terms of asset quality, and part of the thing there is that we get to utilize the art that's getting made for Path of Exile 2. And then we get to either, in this case, we've taken it pretty directly, some of the monsters, which is great. Put some twists on it, adjust it, deploy it in PoE 1. In a lot of cases, we get to then make modifications to it. We get to use sometimes the model, change the animation. Sometimes the animations change the model. But simply because, PoE 1 is such a has been around for so long, you get this like very insane spectrum of very old art all the way to very new art that's now coming in. So often a lot of the modern stuff can just look like absolutely insane when it's on the backdrop of something quite old. But yeah, we get to use a lot more modern assets nowadays. We still have to optimize them for, PoE 1, but nonetheless, it's good. Yeah, so anyway, not specifically a graphics update, not to say our engine isn't constantly getting better, but we just effectively get to use better models, better art,
I wonder if that affects performance at all. Like from the graphic update side of things, like if they're using assets from PoE 2, I don't know how it works over there. So I wonder if that's requiring extra processing power for the people at home, or is it just newer rigging? It doesn't actually require any extra, graphics from the player at home. I was curious about this.
I wonder if you get some of this. All obviously looks really nice, and we'll see where that goes. So. Second question we have, and I agree with this first part of it for sure, probably the rest as well, which is I love seeing Breach get some love in a rework. For sure, it's exciting to do that. But the question being, will Splinters and Breach Stones have a new way of being obtained with this new mechanic? So to answer that one first, during this breach, everything that was the existing breach, so during Keepers of the Flame, all the existing breach stuff is not there. So you won't have the Splinters and Breach Stones.
Okay.
Now, some of it is there. Like a lot of the rewards from the bosses are there. You can get, a number of the uniques that would have been exclusive to that content from the Genesis tree. So, the rewards are there. But honestly, that content, again, when we're doing this thing where we're trying to modernize and revamp, That existing stuff may come in later as another extrapolation, but because we're trying to forward the storyline, like they've now come through to your world, they've come through to Ray class, and you're trying to stop them. There's new bosses, and we're kind of phasing out those old ones. Now, to be fair, those were literally some microtransaction sets we dunked in red paint, what, like, 10 years ago, however long Breach was. Now, that not to be said they were bad fights necessarily, but very old, very dated. Um, not on rigs that people like to animate on nowadays. So being able to come in with just the completely new things and do them get completely new fights. And honestly, we've learned so much in the last 10 years in terms.
From what I heard, they did something like this in the interludes for PoE2 also. I don't remember exactly what it was. I remember it was Jonathan was telling me one of the art guys or something, but somebody was saying they were struggling with they're struggling with creating something, and then Mark just comes in and is like, I made it work. I used a microtransaction to like make it work. Maybe he was referencing this like forever ago, but I was down there in the office. It was in a conversation related to like how important and good Mark is at his job. Basically, is they're kind of singing his praises like a lot, which is a very common theme I noticed when I'm down there. Is Mark gets a lot of the praise for being like a guy who gets shit done, very efficiently.
How to make boss fights better, make them good, and being able to apply all that to them instead of being just perpetually stuck with stuff that's like a decade old. It's good to be able to apply all that in PoE 1, and obviously we've learned those lessons for PoE 2 and whatnot, but yeah, it's very exciting to be able to go back and take all of those lessons, apply them in PoE 1 as well. And so we want to make sure we're free to do that. Now, that isn't to say like much with most leagues when they go and get added to the core game. We evaluate what people like. We can, in this case, evaluate what people liked about Breach before as well and make sure that all of that stays in. So throughout this league, if there are things that people miss from old Breach, we'd consider adding them, integrating them, be it with a new fresh coat of paint and a new tile set with new art, with new monsters, new bosses, all of that stuff. It would just get added to our list of stuff to evolve and add. So, we'll just listen to the players in that regard, see what they have to say about it, add in whatever we can. And until then, you've got this new Breach. The old Breach will still be available on Standard League, interestingly. So yes, because this is a league, we've had to do the interesting thing where...
Does anyone actually play Standard League? Like, I never see any conversations involving Standard League. I never see a video talking about it, unless it's a weird showcase of like old mechanics. I never see anyone in chat talking about it, and I don't know anyone who plays it. So it gets brought. I'm sure he's not mentioning like it's getting brought up like like it matters. But I'm just kind of curious if anyone in chat, does anyone here like actively play in the standard like OG league? Standard is where most of the players are at. I don't know if I believe that. You go there for testing. Says we'll jump on a standard main from time to time. It's like a 200 plus mirror build. It would be kind of fun to have a crazy build in standard. Only for new league testing a week before. No one plays standard. Yeah, that's kind of what I would figure. No one really plays it.
But we've now got technically 2 versions of Breach existing in the game, where one is restricted to standard. So none of that's been unimplemented. None of it's been deleted. It's all still there. We made sure to keep it all intact. That way, if we need to bring anything back or integrate it once the league is finished, we can just pick what the better of all of the things and compile it into one thing. Now, the second part to that question is also, is this sort of a one-off rework, or is the plan to go back and rework / modernize some of the other integral mechanics as well? Like a lot of people want Blight.
Hell yeah. Let's go, Blight.
It's hard to say one way or another with any level of certainty. I would say that, generally over time, we get to this point where it's like, there was a really cool concept at some point, and we have an opportunity to do extra world building, narrative, artistic updates, mechanic updates, and all that. And I'd say that you're probably going to start to see a little bit of overhauling and improving old leagues balanced with, adding completely new concepts. I wouldn't say any of it's out of scope. The one thing about changing old leagues is if you remove what people ultimately like, you have to be very careful with the rework. Like, rework is harder, modernize is easier. However, modernize probably gets you less bang for buck in terms of bringing in new players and bringing people back, because one thing you can do when you touch these old leagues is kind of ruin it. And we have to be very, very careful not to
True.
do that because there are, I mean, each league, which is something I really love about PoE, each league has a kind of fan base to it. And
This is a good point because when they were missing like Blight rework, I'm like that'd be dope, but also like if they ruin Blight, that would fucking suck because it's like a huge favorite of mine.
the moment you do anything to it, you're gonna exclude some of those people. And this is why sequels just have to be kind of handled very carefully. And you've got to be making sure to not ruin the things that people love about it. So,
This
yes,
is true in like TV shows and shit too, dude. Look at the Halo TV show. Like if you're handling an IP or something that people really like and you ruin it, like it's a good way to piss people off.
modernization, great. Reworking, careful, but still want to do it. But honestly, being able to just extrapolate on the world building, like integrate it properly, add new rewards, fix up all the jank, because there's always a little bit here and there. Do new stats, new passives, new endgame, all of that. Love it all, and I would expect a number of other leagues to get it, especially as they get more older and older and older over time. Some of the leagues we've just straight up removed because the in the past, like Perandus kind of just despawned off the face of the earth because it was kind of like, okay, well, in order to salvage this, it's a full new league, so like, there's not really a salvaging we
I don't
can
think I
do.
was around
So it
with
really, as long
Corandus.
as they come from a good enough baseline, and I would say Breach, Blight, a lot of those leagues achieve that, then yeah, completely happy to do so. Okay, so fire through this list of questions. So, um,
I have to hand it to you. Breach looks fun,
Oh my fucking
and
god, the hand.
because of all the hands. Anyway, what's the ideation process like when updating a mode like Breach?
thanks with all the hand puns. So, what's the ideation process like when updating a mode like Breach? Um, Well, the good thing is we got to go from a bit of a baseline here because when we designed, we were doing Breach for PoE 2. We kind of jumped forward a bit. So you've got these 2 points in time where one is, 25 or odd years in the future, and then you have PoE, and we kind of like showed the end of 25 years, and then we were like, hold on, we didn't explain or say anything as to what happened in the middle. So I was like, and now we've got a bunch of art we can use. So let's take that art, extrapolate on it, do the update, and start to tell that story of what happened over the 2 decades between PoE 1 storyline and PoE 2 storyline. So aside from obviously just wanting to update Breach, it was one of the first, it was one of our like first big leagues. It was like a kind of there was like a league moment where we pivoted from one type of league to another.
Aside from Blight changes, what are you excited about? Well, there's not really many Blight changes. There's one quality of life thing, but other than that, like Blight's kind of the same. What am I mostly excited for? The grafting. I'd say the new grafting system seems like the obvious giant addition to the league. I think that's kind of the one that most people are going to be excited for. Who is this? This is the Destin interview.
And it was like the
I'll
first
get
of
you a
its
link for it.
kind. So we're kind of going back to the origins there, and we're like, we need to update the story. We need to progress it forward. Um, you know, keep building upon it, update the mechanics, update the art, make it fun. But the one thing that came again, it's the important thing here is we need to make sure that we don't overcomplicate the combat and turn it into some, complicated, confusing thing or something. Like the people who love Breach should still love Breach afterwards. I believe we've achieved that because ultimately it was pretty simple. It was activate a thing, get swarmed by monsters, fighting them in a circle, fighting for your life. It honestly fits the traditional, just like ARPG mowing down monsters more than most.
Wind Druid,
Kind of
December.
everything since then. We like to add twists to things, X factors to things, different types of combat, whereas Breach was like the simplest form. And we wanted to make sure we maintain that while still making it feel new and exciting and filling and fixing some of the broken things the things that weren't quite good enough. So the ideation process was mostly coming from a narrative standpoint here, and a world building and wanting to expand on that, but also wanting to give a new fresh coat of paint to our very first league that we all kind of love. And while doing that, make sure we maintain what people loved about it the whole way through. Um, what is it with you guys in hands? Uh, I mean, it's Breach. Breach's hands. It's just what Breach is. Um,
Aren't
The
hands supposed to be like artistically one of the hardest things to get right? I mean, I know AI gets it wrong all the time. I'm not really referring to that as much as like when you're learning to draw. Very often, some of the projects they'll give you to learn to draw are like actually drawing hands because getting hands right is so difficult, like with the shading and the shape and etc.
boss, the Zesht in Path of Exile 2 is a breach boss, so it is still hands and just there's lots of hands because it's what breach has going on. It's
To be
just
fair,
got
Ducky
hands as
writes
its
the whole
thing.
point. Yeah, true. That
Honestly,
is
it's kind
true.
of cool, kind of creepy. There's kind of a lot you can do with it. You can animate them easily. They can do skills easily, so like everything kind of works, and they feel nice and kind of it's kind of almost horror bound and fits into the dark world, yet also completely works as depicting a demon. So I don't know, hands just work. They just do.
It just works.
When do you feel like a game has overstayed its welcome? Some others in the long running game space seem to be struggling. I'm referencing Destiny. How does Path of Exile 1 stand the test of time?
So another question, when do you
Dude, you know how often I'm watching something and somebody brings up Destiny? It's like Diablo 4, reset the clock. Like, I played Destiny 1, I played a bit of Destiny 2. I was never like super into it. Maybe I was more into Destiny 1 than I was Destiny 2, to be fair. But like, I played some of it. It was pretty fun and all that, but I never got super sucked into it. It seems like the people that like main Destiny are still grieving the loss of Destiny. Like, is it really that bad this day and age? I've been so out of touch with it. I haven't really like super been into Destiny, so I wouldn't know.
feel like a game has overstayed its welcome? Some others in the long running game space seem to be struggling. How does Path of Exile 1 stand the test of time? Honestly, I mean, especially in today's like gaming ecosystem, if you want to call it that, a lot of older games are honestly thriving. Like they're doing really
True.
well. I would actually argue that a lot of more modern games are kind of hit and miss and
This is a good
struggling
take.
nowadays.
Yeah.
Now that being said, it's kind of a spectrum all over the place. I wouldn't say I'm educated in that regard because I just focus on PoE, 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 PoE. That being said, I honestly just think that we have a very passionate team who honestly love the project, like through and through. Path of Exile 1, 2, doesn't matter. There's still even though we're like working on PoE 2, there's still a massive amount of staff that love PoE 1. We update it consistently. Sure, we had a bit of a moment there where we had to put it on hold as we were working on PoE 2's early access release, but we've done pretty consistent patching for a very long time, consistent updates, innovating the content. If you compare some of the very first expansions and what they included, the first league was Onslaught. It meant monsters had 20% attack cast and movement speed. And that was the first hardcore league we did. That was a league. I mean, now we're talking about you got NPCs, areas, bosses, monsters, character improvements, classes, skills, just everywhere, QOL improvements. Like, we're not like, playing, sitting here, taking it easy. It's full. We have a schedule. We want to update. What can we do, and what will players love? And I think if people were, you know, I mean, obviously you need a relatively good game and concept to start with, but I think if you can just strive to do that level of patching and constantly making the game better and better and better and better and doing more and doing better and innovating by a passionate team who actually care about the game, then I feel like in almost all cases you're going to grow a player base. And that is one thing to know. Like PoE 1 grew, right? It doesn't just like it's sure it's high, it goes low, and then it grows and grows and grows and grows and grows. And you get your ebbs and flows, and you get your plateaus for a bit, and then when you plateau, you're like, hold on, we need to do more, we need to do better. Let's get more people back in here. Let's get people excited about it again. What do we need to do better? So don't let it get stale. Don't flatline. Just keep innovating, keep designing, keep doing better, and make sure that people, your staff, the team working on it, feel passionate not only about working on it but also about playing it. And I
That's
think
the
we have
important
just
part,
that
playing it
that
too. Yeah.
recipe, and it works for us. Now, again, I haven't researched too much about the rest of the industry because I just focus on Path of Exile all of my life. So I can't speak to other games, but that's, I guess, my perspective on how we kind of keep doing so well and keep growing and keep standing the test of time, as you said. Another question, how do you prevent the player feeling like they're on a hamster wheel chasing short-term power that's simply replaced in a few months. I mean, part of it is that you don't need to stop that. I mean, that kind of is what we're doing. I wouldn't say things.
I mean, people use the example of a hamster wheel, but you buy the hamster wheel to give the hamster something to do, my dudes. You buy a hamster wheel, the hamster's going to get on the wheel.
Are replaced. Like, we don't have the kind of World of Warcraft expansion territory of literally the patch comes out and every single thing that you knew and which is a thing that MMOs historically have done when you're just like, an expansion comes out, literally everything I knew and had aside from, some basics is just like gone. It's done, right? My character's nothing. Whereas every bit of knowledge you have in this game, and it carries over, right? Like, most of the game is familiar, right? You're coming in from a place where you know what you generally know what you're doing. You generally know what builds are, options, what the classes are, what the characters are. Like, we change stuff, sure. What we've actually found is when we change too much, it starts to tilt the exact other way. So as much as people were like, changes, there's a huge amount of people that love that familiarity. But the answer is, yeah, come back and play, and then stop, and then come back and play, and then stop. And yeah, it is a hamster wheel chasing short-term power in a regard, but as long as every single time, I mean, it's many, many, many wheels. You're not coming back to the same wheel, right? You're coming back to new content, new things, but it's all layered on top of.
Unless you're like me and you log back into Blight literally every fucking league.
That like base, that intuitive thing you remember, you come back to, and you're like, oh yeah, this I remember this, I love this, and then there's a few things that you have to learn on top, and you can use to, make your character strong. But I mean, obviously, there's always the debate about whether or not you should have new leagues or, just a game.
You wish you knew what you were doing in PoE? Here's the thing. No one knows what they're doing in PoE unless you're bin. That's the general rule. And then everyone else is still learning the game. Give it a dozen years, and then you might understand some of the basics. That's pretty much the video game.
It lasts forever, and you play in the same, standard league, I guess. And there are people who come back and just play in standard league every time, playing on their existing characters like that. There is a community for that. But obviously what we have found is that more people like to come back, play in a new league, play in a fresh economy on a fresh footing, try a new character, or maybe just play Deadeye 15 leagues in a row. Entirely up to them.
Yo, let them know.
But
Mark.
yeah, ultimately, people love it, right? So we fell into this rhythm because it is what we found people liked to do. So I wouldn't say we need to prevent them doing necessarily anything. We've found the thing that people are happy with, so we're just going to keep delivering on exactly that. We've tried slower frequency.
He's trying very nicely to say, like, the reason people keep playing our game is because we're actually continuing to make a good game. We're not making a dog shit game, and because we know how to make a good game, we just keep making the same thing over and over and over again. It's like, they don't really need to change the formula. They just need to add new shit that they're kind of already doing, right? You can tell he's trying to, like, explain, he's trying to figure out how to explain, like, yeah, well, if you don't purposefully try to make problems. Man knows his player base. Yeah, I mean, they already know what the player's like.
We've tried higher frequency. We've kind of found the sweet spot of the 3 to 4 months, and that's what works.
The apple pie tastes good as it is. Basically, yeah, that's basically what he's saying. Like, we figured out the combo. Keep redoing the combo.
So we'll just keep doing it.
You wish he would give this advice to the Pokemon team. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like it doesn't matter what Pokemon makes. If I said something about Pokemon, the same people are always going to talk about why I'm wrong and the game's good. I've seen this since before Arceus. Like, literally every Pokemon game. And it's not like I don't like Pokemon, bro. Like, I played since Pokemon Red. I got shitloads of Pokemon cards. I played all of them up until Arceus. And after that, I started to be like, I don't know how I feel about them as much anymore. But no matter what you say about fucking Pokemon, it's like there's people that will come out of the woodwork to tell you you're wrong and that this is actually a good game. It's literally every Pokemon game I've ever had my criticisms about. People come out of the woodwork, tell you you're wrong. This Pokemon is really good. I like what Nintendo's doing. Like, they're just immune to having any criticism at all. It's actually fucking unbelievable. And then meanwhile, those Pokemon people are buying the same dog shit Pokemon game, only this time with new worse looking Pokemon, buying every single Pokemon merch, and then refusing to admit that they could possibly be having a better game at all. Meanwhile, it's literally the largest IP in the history of everything. And they just get away with pumping like some of the worst games. It's not even like worst games for their size. Like they're actually just objectively like bad games. They're actually just not good. And somehow they get away with it. Here's a garbage Pokemon. Yeah, when I actually stopped. I've said this before, but when I actually got sick of the franchise, I was walking down the street in some city. I don't remember if it was Black and White or what it was. Actually, Black and White wasn't even that bad. But it was some Pokemon game. It was back when it was 2D and still like kind of all right. And I got attacked. I'm like, here we go. We're going to get like a fucking dragon or something. And then it's an ice cream cone attacking me. And I'm like, okay, I get a fucking ice cream cone. I guess the fucking ice cream cone. So then I'm like, all right, well, kill the ice cream cone. I don't want to capture this. It's a literal ice cream cone. I'll just kill the Pokemon, move on. So then I go down an alleyway and I get attacked again. I'm like, here we go. Okay, we're gonna get like a dog, an alleyway dog or something, like an actual animal. And it's a literal garbage bag. I'm not saying it's a garbage design. It's an actual garbage bag as a Pokemon. And I was like, you know what? This is the perfect like euphemism for the franchise. This is what has happened to it. Whoever designed that one knew. At least Pokemon players play the game instead of simulating the outcome with POB. At least Path of Exile players have a game that they can be interested in long enough that they're sitting there waiting, so they'll create theories and simulate the game before it's even playable. At least they got that. I don't know. I don't have that good of a response for you. You actually got me with that one. All right, fine, fair enough.
New skill and support teams are a big deal. When's the last time you added new abilities? Core skills, it's been a while. So I would say that we add new skills all the time, but often they have a kind of, for example, in the last league, Mercenaries, or the Secrets of the Atlas, we added Trathan gems. So, and then before that, there was Transfigured gems. And so there's always been like...
Just learn the rules of the game. How is a guy named Blueprint PoE arguing against using a POB? What am I missing here?
We've done kind of, twists on skills, and we've done a bunch of that. So there's often stuff coming out, but in terms of actual just core abilities, especially skill gems, we did obviously the retaliation skills with Settlers of Kalgur.
Because the keywords are in-game tools. All right, now you're losing me. I do. Making an argument for using in-game tools and in-game terminology to like understand how the math of the game works, you're gonna lose me there. You're gonna lose me there, brother. Like, yeah, PoE 2, maybe. Yeah, maybe. PoE 1, hell no, dude. You look at armor and you tell me how I'm supposed to figure out armor in PoE 1 by looking at armor.
I can't remember if there were any others around there. Honestly, we work on so much stuff. Good luck with my short-term memory nowadays. Or maybe that's long-term memory, whichever one.
He forgets the memory.
Honestly, yeah, we don't add a lot of them too frequently. But there's not really a particular reason for that, honestly. It's just that, sometimes it's nice to do skills, focus on character side, and sometimes it's nice to focus on content. We don't always get to do both. In this case, we were just kind of like, you know what, it's time for some new skills and supports. Let's especially like focusing on Wander and, a few other like the more archery attack stuff. It's like, these seem like they'll be cool. Let's get them in there. The last time you could argue was the last patch. It just depends what you count a new skill and support, I guess. So
cannot be helped. I'm the only player to learn the archetype Rosa PoE. Okay, now we're getting baited. Now we're getting baited. You know what? You had me with the first line, and as every sentence continued to come out in this conversation in chat, you lost me piece by piece. When a short. Now I know it's a meme. Now I know he's memeing.
Oh yeah. How do you make it so that players can map? which is in-game maps, but to never feel overpowered to the point that the game is too easy. Well, you can get to that point. Not very many people get to that point, but at this point we have so much content that is so multiplicative. You have atlas trees, you have scarabs, you have so much of this, and it goes all. You have delirium, and layers and layers and layers of mechanics to make things harder. That you really do get to just push the difficulty, very, very, very far. But also the characters can get very, very, very far. Honestly, there are many points where you probably do feel too overpowered, but then there's a way I can make things harder, or there's a new Atlas strategy I can do, or there's this or that, right? And generally speaking, every time we try and add more rewards, we try and add more difficulty as well. And as long as you keep doing that, you get the kind of scaling issues, but you can regulate it to a degree. You can have them be somewhat exclusive. You can power creep, and occasionally you have to bring the power back and bring the numbers back a little bit. But ultimately, for the most part, we just have so many levers of making the game harder and more rewarding. And we have so many levers of making your character more powerful that just both just go, and you're going up and up and up and up and up and up and contesting. And
I mean, he says that, but you can be like me, and my character only feels worse every league, and I learn nothing. I need to learn the archetypes of PoE.
All the way through, and even then, when you've done that, you might be like, okay, I've now kind of perfected this strategy. I'll try a different Atlas strategy, and it's completely separate. Something you saw someone doing, be it you were doing abyssal strategies over here, and maybe you want to do, I don't know.
Should give Blizzard some of those levers. I was curious, because I was getting baited back into Diablo. So I reached out and I asked somebody, I was like, I was legitimately open-minded. I'm like, okay, season 11, like I heard they changed fucking everything. And then I asked somebody and they said, it feels like they're changing shit just to change shit. It didn't feel good. I was like, oh no. So it's every season. It's every season. They're changing shit because, I don't know. I need to probably dip my toes in it feels like it, see what it feels like and stuff. So I'm probably going to try season 11 of Diablo just to see. I'm going to go in, I swear, positive and open-minded and willing to have a fun experience. I'm going to forget PoE exists. I'm going to remove my PoE elitist hat and be an open-minded dad gamer once again. We're going to go back in and in season 11 of Diablo 4, and we're going to, it's surely going to be hyper enjoyable. We will try it again.
Like Rogue Exile in-game strategy, or maybe you just want to fight uber bosses, and then you find, oh, my character was overpowered, but not against bosses. I maybe need to do something about that and calibrate. And this isn't something that was always the case. Before we had so much content and so many layers, it was actually very easy for someone to just get to a point where they're like, well, this game's trivial now. It happened many times. It's just that it is possible to get to that point now, but it is just harder than ever. So there's kind of like no ceiling to when you can just stop playing. Like a lot of people feel like they can just finish all the core quest lines, complete their Atlas and finish, and other people want to get to the point where they're actually min-maxed as possible in every single strategy possible. And which is something I love, by the way. It's like that's part of what makes PoE1's endgame so, able to be played so many times on repeat. And then often by the time that you perfect everything, a new league goes core and a new league gets added, and now you've got two more variables that change everything, and it's like, oh sweet, what is this new stuff I can do? So but I mean, it happens, but right now we're in a real good spot. Do you feel like you're adding too many tricky mechanics to the Ubers? How do you push it and keep it fun without it becoming annoying? Well, the luxury here...
Okay, I'm going to give my take on it before he answers it, which is they're called Ubers. Like, what feels a bummer to me is when I beat all of the Ubers for the first time, and I was like, oh shit, that's all of them. And I kind of wish there was like some giga hard ones that would really take a significant amount of like skill issue to be able to beat. So I, for one, like it when there's exceptionally hard bosses in the video game that takes time to beat, or at least a crazy build to be able to bypass if you really wanted to do that. I mean, that's that's one of my favorite things about PoE1. That's just me personally. I feel like there's two camps of people, which is like there's people that get like mad that they'll be like, these bosses are too hard, they get FOMO, I can't beat them, it's unfair. Like that's one camp. And then the other camp is like, I like that there's a challenge and that my character has to get strong to be there, or I have to learn to get past the mechanics, etc. It seems like there's definitely like a divide in people that just wanted to be able to be beaten immediately and people that wanted to be like constantly challenging them. You know what I mean?
Whereas they are Ubers. They are not fit for everyone. They are meant to be a test of skill and a test of your character's gear. Now, obviously, you can almost always, as is in PoE, overcome mechanics by just making your character so freaking powerful that it can kind of ignore them. That is a thing you can do. It's completely fine. If you, maybe you're SSF or maybe you're in a different, context where you don't have trade or whatever the case is, obviously you can compensate for that lack of character power with skill and overcome it still. These are both completely viable strategies. We kind of just love it, but they are Ubers. They are designed to be tricky mechanics. They are designed to be harder. It's not meant to just be a pushover. So, the whole fun but annoying, each to their own, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't find them annoying. I find them fun, and
let them know.
You might hate them, and that's perfectly okay.
Let them know, buddy.
As long as... Because we have enough bosses, enough Ubers with enough different content, you're going to have some you love, some you hate, and then different people will have some they love and some they hate. Completely fine. But there's 3 of them, so maybe one of them you like, 2 of them you hate, or vice versa. We'll see how it goes. Yeah. All right. Let me keep going. Okay, well, the QOL improvement's huge. I agree. You are welcome. We will continue to do that every single patch. Hopefully getting like 10 of them a patch or so would be nice. And yeah, regarding the graphics, yeah, agreed. So another one from Victoria. Are there going to be any major / notable differences between the async trade of PoE 1 and 2? Besides what game it is, and will it have the same requirements? Yeah, it is currently identical in terms of requirements. The only real change is that the gold metagame is a little bit different. Like the gold balance of the game, it's not exactly perfect, and gold in PoE 1 is actually has a higher demand because of the settlers mechanic. So we have this thing where we're having to now balance trading with engaging with settlers, so we need to make sure we get that right as opposed to just throw it in there.
That's true, because they do have Settlers League that requires gold, and that was kind of the purpose of gold before, but now you need gold for other reasons. I kind of forgot about that, actually. You see, look, I really don't like Settlers. Like, I understand I'm in the minority here, and that it might be a bad take, but I actually don't like Settlers, because people tell me that it's not hard to set up, and that you just do your right, you get the farmer step, and you send the boats. I actually don't like that it feels mandatory. It feels to me mandatory in the way like if mercenaries were in the game, it would feel mandatory to have. Because of its existence there implies that I need to do it. And I understand that that's like part of like the ARPG is like, okay, well, the passive tree's there, you're going to have to do that, or you're going to have to get better gear. Like, I get that, but it's an angle of wealth acquisition that translates to power that I don't necessarily enjoy in the game. You're dumb for not doing it, basically. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I feel like a lot of the other mechanics and angles in the game, I can choose to not do if I would like. But no matter if we're talking SSF or trade or regardless, the Settlers League in the minigame feels like you should do it all the time regardless of anything. Like, that's what it feels like to me. So I actually kind of just don't like Settlers in general because of that. But, like, I know that I'm probably not in the general consensus with this one, but I do feel that way with Settlers.
It's worth noting, we are working on UX improvements to that trade system. There's obviously been a lot of things that have come up, about wanting to...
I don't like Heist, Blight, Sanctum, Mine, Lab, Trial. Should I still play it? But you don't have to. Like, so the difference that I feel between that example and the Settlers example is the Settlers is much more passive, in which you just set it up and then you go and you interact with it occasionally. It's like basically a farm. Whereas the other ones are active league mechanics you're specializing into. Like they don't really feel like a one-to-one comparison. I disagree. I think sellers is something nice to have and do while you do something else. But if you do like it, it won't change your game, just a boost. But see, I understand that you like that, and it's okay. I'm not saying you're wrong for liking that, but the reason you like it is the reason I do not like it, which is something to do while you do something else, and that it is a boost. That is actually the reason I don't like it, is because I don't want to have like a secondary mini game that's effectively check in on it like it's a Tamagotchi in order to like continually get a boost. It's not. It doesn't really. It feels to me like it doesn't really fit the vibe of any other game mode in the game. Settlers makes better economy because some trash uniques are now a trade for dust. Yeah, no, I mean you're totally right about that too. But again, it's just a personal thing. That's just like the fact that I don't like it.
Be able to more rapidly. So, for example, if you have a pair of boots in your inventory, you can do something to immediately search for those parameters. So you can then modify from there to be able to find equivalent or similar pairs of boots quickly. Whereas right now you've got to fill in all the stats and fill in all the values to search for it to be able to assess it. Now, obviously, a lot of people just use price checkers. That's not ideal. Ideally, we'd either find a way to integrate that or reduce the need for it. But these are things we'll get there. We'll be applying both of these improvements when we do them, as we do them to both games. But yeah, the exact same requirements. And if you've purchased the merchants tabs for PoE 2 already, you'll have them for PoE 1. You don't need to buy them again. You just have them in both games, much like most or all of our microtransactions. So, no issue there. Next question. With the old breach going out, are there any changes to the breach nodes in the Atlas tree to interact with a new rework mechanic? So to immediately answer that, we don't actually do Atlas passive nodes for actively running leagues. So currently when you play in Keepers of the Flame, there will be no breach nodes on the Atlas tree. The mechanic, due to the grafting and the kind of tree, it has its almost sort of own meta progression. So you'll be interacting with that. Are there any new stashes for the grafts and graft currency? I believe there is, yes. I need to actually double check that, but I believe there's a graft locker or something. I can't remember what we call them. And that's just for stuff that sits in the monastery. I can't remember with 100% certainty, but I'm pretty sure there is. Only because last time I saw it, it didn't have the art yet, so it looked like the heist locker, and I remember thinking it looked weird. So that was a little while ago, of course. Is there a plan for the 10 new Ascendancies, so that's the Bloodline classes, to become a core part of the game, or just specific to League? So it isn't specific to the League, it is core game. They will be available in Standard and in Keepers of the Flame.
Oh, shit.
Now, not to say that once the League Keepers of the Flame ends, or much like with any expansion, if they are unhealthy for the game, if they're unhealthy for balance,
it's actually a big announcement.
If we just need to make any changes, we're always going to make those changes. So for now, we intend for them to be core, remain core, and stick around afterwards. But, much like with any new content, you don't know how it's going to play out, so we'll see. And then a personal one. Steven wants to try run something brand new this league. What's your favorite new skill in this league, so I can try and possibly fail to build around it?
I must have missed it. That was Core Leviathan.
I don't remember the names of them all exactly because they all go through a bunch of name iteration, even though I recorded some of them. But 100%, I'm kind of even torn between trying to just make a Ruckus of Tornadoes build or trying to do something interesting with the kinetic wall skill. Not entirely too sure.
I feel like the wall is going to be OP.
I would honestly just give the Wanders a try, give some of the kinetic skills a try and see what happens. The wanding, like the whole just bouncing projectiles everywhere using the like ricocheting wall, sounds like one of the most fun things to me, but who knows? Next question. On standing the test of time, when you have a big lull or low point, how does the company weather that storm, financially and or morale-wise?
Again, I'm referencing Bungie with this question, not really grinding your games.
Big lull or low point? I mean, have we even had that? Like, I don't even know if we've ever had that, to be honest. I think the worst case we had was either, yeah, because we had to stop, like just in the context of PoE 1, it was because we had to stop developing to focus our resources on PoE 2's early access. And honestly, we had to pay a cost to that. We certainly, it was regrettable and it sucked. Um, but we were still working on a project, you know what I mean? Like, I would say that the morale lows come from actually when we deploy something and it sucks. Because we fail, and so often what sucks is like a week into the league if we really miss the mark on something, like Dawn of the Hunt. Yeah, we kind of messed up some stuff. That sucks, but like you just have to truck on forward and just fix it and make it better and do better and not repeat your mistakes. And you may, but just turn it around. Do what you can. You may not win back.
Dude, Dawn of the Hunt getting fucking roasted in Oblivion had me sweating for a moment. I was like, wait, hold on. Like like don't like hold on, boys. Like I really hope the next league is a banger, and thank God, dude. Thank God, 0.3 is good. I got my hold on for a moment. I was like, oh shit. Like, oh wait a minute, what's going on?
Everyone in the moment, but that's the luxury of coming back 3 or 4 months later and doing even better and a larger expansion. Um, and even 2 weeks into a league, like I know Necropolis had a ton of problems, and it's just fix them. Don't get stubborn. Don't get arrogant. Don't sit there going, nah, the players are wrong. Like, that's madness. Stay away from all. I don't know why people do that. I have absolutely no idea. Just.
Dude, everyone shits on Necropolis League. I liked the Necropolis League, dude. I thought that shit was fun. Like, okay, it was, I understand it was objectively, like, kind of a bummer to have all the corpses and shit. Like, I get it, but I enjoyed the hell out of Necropolis. The Necropolis was bad. Shit sucked, dude. Not really. It was horrible. Like, I get it. Like, I know it's an L plus ratio take. I'm just saying that was a good league for me, dude. That was with like some of the farthest that I had gotten in the game in the hardcore review. Fuck you for having fun, DM. I know, I get it. I'm just saying it was some of the most fun I had in Paths of Exile, dude. I had a great run. I was some of the richest I've been in the hardcore trade. I got 3 of the stones down, and then I believe it was 2 in hardcore. I was some of the farthest I had made it, in hardcore. All right, 20 stabs of corpses. Hey, look, man, I don't know what to say. I just spent a few $1,000s on PoE, tabs, and then no longer it didn't matter for me anymore. You buying corpses for 2 hours the first time I glad to be here? Okay. All right, you know what? Forget it, dude.
Make the game better.
It's good gameplay. I swear, it's good stream content.
If just keep doing that and stay positive and passionate. And honestly, that is honestly the sentiment to just again keeping morale high and weathering that storm is just like we've been through a lot. Like we've messed up a lot of things. Just make it better. It's fine. You can always do it. It's not that bad. It's completely fine, and just don't. As long as you never have that approach of being like the players are wrong, it's absurd, and I have absolutely no idea why people do that. So, honestly, this has been our mentality the whole time, and it has worked. Honestly, always. Sometimes that league has some damage.
I mean, I like what he's saying about, like, don't just get in the mentality of the players are wrong. Like, don't have a scapegoat. But also, one of the things I like about GGG the most. And I mean, I would say, or contribute to part of, like, to their success is that they respect themselves as much as they respect the audience. So they listen to their own opinions as well. I think is actually like a huge part of it, because if there's someone, that you do trust to make a good game, it's these guys. So I would want them to listen to themselves as much as listen to, like, a random person like me. Like 100%. Actually, you want them to listen to themselves more than the average random guy. So that is 100% one of the things that I was glad about when I got into PoE and noticed. It's like, okay, these guys are not only, good at what they do, but they don't just, like, immediately change their opinion. Like, here's an example. Remember Mark here when he's talking about ascendancies? Now, everyone wanted ascendancies, and they eventually did add the ascendancy changes in PoE 2. But he was like, you know what? I'm not going to do it immediately. I'm going to think about it. It took him till I think it was Dawn of the Hunt or something after the release to like decide that he wanted to change the paint, but he wanted to sit and think about that one for a while. You know what I mean? If it's bad, we'll fix it. They're master of problem solvers. That's why they're the best. They're competent. They know. Yeah, it's a little bit relieving. They find a good balance, for sure.
And that is what it is. And yeah, we shouldn't have fucked up. That's the answer. Like, it's right for people to have stopped playing if the game wasn't fun. And so just make it fun. That's it.
Just
It's kind of easy, but I understand when it gets emotional and the players are angry, especially about something you did, it can be hard. It can be quite difficult when you are passionate in game development, but just honestly, it's fine. You're making the game for them. You want them to be happy. You want them to enjoy the game. Make the game for them. Do it, right? Like, that's your audience. So yeah, I don't know.
Pretty basic
Generally,
response.
just stay positive all the time and just make the best Path of Exile as possible now that there's two of them.
Path of Exile.
Yeah, that's all the questions. But I think we're kind of hitting the schedule for going into the one-on-one interviews.
Get some very base takes.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Appreciated it a lot. And probably see you in a couple months or something for PoE 2's next one. I don't remember what date it is, but, you know, around there. You know, the next PoE 2 expansion, see a lot of you there. If you're not there for that, see you at the next PoE 1 expansion, hopefully. But yeah, hope you enjoy the league. And let me know how you feel about the breaching.
Here we go, breaching again.
Enjoy all the hands.
All right, so that was my interview. I know it's a little unorthodox, but I do appreciate you watching. Thank you so much, everybody. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell to know my content goes live. I do greatly appreciate Grinding Gear Games having me join this session. They know I'm not a huge PoE 1 player. I'm more into PoE 2, but I like seeing the team and I like asking them about their philosophy when it comes to creating games. Thanks for watching, everybody. Huge thank you to the members, Chris Reddy, Phil Roney, and Aries EMS, as well as everybody else who supports. You can support at patreon.com/SaveStatePlus or by becoming a YouTube member. I'm going to get out of here, but I will see you for the next one. Bye for now, everybody.
Just make the game fun. His take is pretty much just make the game fun. Do it. That was very like, just do it. Who's the guy? Man, who was the guy who was part of that meme? Like the just do it. What the hell was his name? He's in the Transformer stuff. Shia. Yeah, Shia LaBeouf. Or whatever his name. Yeah. Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, the Nike. Just do it.